once they start hitting the quota, they stop accepting cherries to process. So if you've grown more cherries than they'll take,
you're stuck.
You can't do anything with them. Now, the law does allow you to donate them.
Yeah, I love this.
Like to homeless shelters or whatever it is, some charitable organization. Yeah. But in order to donate them, they have to be processed
first.
But if the processor won't accept cherries to process them,
you can't
have them processed to donate them.
So I brought up
absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a catch-22. Now I asked about using it for livestock food, and you looked up a little bit about. I said pigs. Pigs will eat anything, and they will eat tart cherries. But I guess you said that some of the sweet or dark cherries that can be toxic.
Yeah, dark cherries, wild cherries, things like that. They can't have the pits.
Yeah, so
they have to be processed to give them to a pig.
Right. It's just a shame.
Yeah, it's absolutely insane. And here's the thing. You think about the government doing price control. Your first thought, because you don't want to think the government's evil, your first thought is, oh, good, they're forcing these big farms to sell me cherries at a low price. That's actually not true, because it's the opposite of that. When they limit the number of cherries on the market, that's going to make the price higher, right? Yeah. It's not going to lower the price. It's going to raise the price. So the government is actively, artificially raising the price of cherries.
In fact, the more cherries there are, the lower the price would be for the consumer.
Absolutely. Now, I will say, the cherry board...
You could give them away. You don't have to sell them, I suppose. You could give them away to people that wanted them. You could put them
I don't know.
out by the road and say, hey, come and grab them, and you could take them home.
Are you allowed?
I would. I don't
know.
I don't know.
You don't see why not.
Yeah. Well, you're right.
The government.
The raw milk issue.
I will say, to be fair, though, the cherry board, we're complaining about the government. The cherry board, which was created by the USDA, the board is made up of farmers and processors from all of the different areas, essentially the Midwest, where they grow a lot of cherries.
Washington State grows a lot of cherries.
It's close to the Midwest.
No,
I think globally. I'm thinking globally. I don't know if they're part of this.
It's closer than, say, Australia is to us, but yeah. Okay.
I don't know if they're regulated by this board, though. So I'm saying, because the other problem,
well, if it's federal, they would be.
Not necessarily.
Sure, they would.
Not necessarily. Really?
Yeah.
I don't think that's necessarily
I think if there's
true.
A federal board, it would cover all tart cherries in the country.
It's not necessarily a federal board. USDA is a federal.
I thought you said it was a federal.
The USDA is federal, but they created this board to do a specific thing, which might be for a specific region. I'm not sure about that. Is what I'm saying.
But I bet it covers all cherries. But
okay, it might.
Right. Anyways,
it doesn't cover all cherries. Know. Sweet cherries are not.
No, I meant all cherries in the category that it covers. All cherries grown in under the U.S. But go ahead. I don't know. I can't talk intelligently.
I know you can. I don't remember what I was saying now, so thanks.
Giving them away, they control it.
One of the problems, because you were talking about Washington State or whatever, one of the farmers or processors, I think, was saying that since our supply is artificially lowered, that cherries are actually being imported from other countries, which is making it even harder for U.S. suppliers to make money. Because they're being undercut essentially by other countries that are importing cherries, or they're exporting. We're importing their cherries. I don't know how true that is, but that seems.
It seems like you would use up all U.S. cherries first, and then if there was a shortage, you could import.
It's very similar to what we do with oil, right? We have plenty of oil here we could survive, but we don't want to use it for some reason. We're not wasting it necessarily.
But it's not wasting it, right? I was just going to say.
But we would rather pay another country and import it, and pros and cons.
There are pros and cons to that.
But it's not renewable like cherries. You can't grow more next year. So I suppose it's a little different. But yeah, weird, huh? So that picture that you saw going around on Facebook, there's some truth to it.
Yeah, and that was a farmer up in Traverse City.
Yeah.
Traverse City, Michigan.
It was.
Okay. Oh, well, we talked about Playboy. I wanted to just bring it up because there's some political, some religious aspect to it. Playboy, by the way, doesn't have nude photos anymore. It's all articles are trying to be a mainstream
It's been about a year
intellectual
when they decided
magazine, not realizing that magazines basically are dead as newspapers are.
And the only thing that allowing something like Playboy to live was the fact that it wasn't full of boring articles.
Right.
And now that's gone. Although I don't think their magazine branch is probably doing that well either. They're online.
Right. I don't know. I don't think it is. Anyways, they still put people on the cover, but it's more political. They had a I'll say modern in quotes Muslim female who's bucking the system in her leather jacket and her blue jeans, and she's wearing a hijab, which is the scarf over the top. It doesn't cover the entire face. It's just the scarf, for modesty. And also there was a running magazine that had a woman with a hijab, and there's also a whole clothing line of sexy outfits that match your hijab for women of fashion. Now,
that's cool.
The thing is, well,
I don't have a problem with it.
It is and it isn't, because liberals think that's great. Oh, it's great. It's wonderful. These women are beautiful and stuff, but they don't realize that the headgear is sexist.
That's
it.
I mean, the origins of it, right, and the original intent for it.
What do you mean original intent? It's still the intent.
You think so?
Sure.
So you don't think there are any non-practicing Muslim women that would wear it because they think it's stylish?
Well, there's a difference between, I guess, style and wearing it as part of your religion, which, by the way, doesn't say you have to wear a hijab or anything. All the Quran talks about is that you have to cover your private parts, whatever those are.
Well,
and so
then
and be modest. What does modesty mean?
Then I have to respect them for having such a broad sense of privacy.
Excuse me. But it's odd that Playboy would do it, because Playboy has traditionally been about women who have been
naked
and objectifying women in many ways.
Right, but they don't do that anymore, Brian.
Right. And Playboy's philosophy celebrates open sexuality and believes that modesty and chastity are a product of a shaming and oppressive culture, which it condemns. But here it is, celebrating a woman who comes and whose religion is oppressive and comes from oppressive society and celebrates that in some way.
Let me tell you something about this nation, Brian. Every single aspect of our lives and of this country are becoming wussified. All of it, including Playboy now, right? To worrying so much about cultural appropriation and being racist and being sensitive to every single person and having safe places, and we're all little snowflakes, that even Playboy has
succumbed to that.
They've had a change of the guard. They have new people. Hugh Hefner, he's living in a house that he's trying to sell, but still wants to live there even after he sells it.
I think he did. He's 90 years old or something.
Yeah.
Now.
That now the people that run Playboy apparently think it's important to take the politically correct stance.
Last I knew, it was his daughter, but go ahead.
That makes sense. I don't know how that makes sense, but I mean, they're taking the politically correct stance of doing what they think is very sensitive and shows just how culturally diverse and culturally acceptive they are.
Yeah, but it's the hijab that's getting the attention, and my point was that
what's getting the attention is that Playboy. This is the first time they've had a woman in Playboy wearing hijab. That's what's getting the attention.
Yeah, but
look at how far we've come.
All right.
A magazine that for how many years has objectified women, Brian, is now finally seeing the light. All you could see was her ankles and her face.
Okay. All right. Speaking of snowflakes, mispronounce a name, bam! Microaggression.
Well, it annoys me, Brian.
It's all right, Nat. School pledges to pronounce names correctly.
Do you know I get that?
I believe you do.
I do.
And my name, I don't even get would you say Brian or
Brian?
Brian? I don't even get that. I get Jeff. Hey, Jeff.
You get Jeff from people who have known you for years.
Yeah, it's not even mispronouncing. It's not even getting close to what my name is.
Well, hey George. What? We're out of time though.
Are we really?
So they're gonna pronounce their names correctly.
They're gonna try.
That's good. All right.
They've taken a pledge.
See you next week.
Bye-bye.